Welcome to Tough Talk. I'm your host, Paul Taros, and today, as my guest, is Randy Bain and Jeff Andring. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Randy, why don't you start and tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, I'm a former Republican Party member, elected official, candidate, founding member of a conservative caucus in Monroe County, currently with the U.S. Taxpayer Party of Michigan. I guess that's about all I can tell you in a short period of time.
Okay, and Jeff?
Former county chairman of Monroe Republican Party. Also founding member of the conservative caucus in Monroe County. Currently I'm on the U.S. Taxpayer Party of Michigan, and we're just trying to forward conservative agendas, constitutionalist. So.
Okay. Now, I notice you're both with U.S. Taxpayer Party.
Yes.
Now you've kind of become disenfranchised by the Republicans and Democrats. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yeah, indeed. That's really just a party of one that has two factions. If you really understand the political arena and see how the process has worked out over the years.
I've heard that said many times.
They act like they have two completely different views. They act like they're mortal enemies to the public, but behind the scenes, they're best of friends. They deal cut. They horse trade to get one's agenda passed versus the others. They trade off. They have dinners and lunches together. It's amazing that the people don't pick this up.
Okay. Yeah, it seems no matter what the party platforms are, it always is a bigger government, more taxes.
More taxation, more regulation.
More regulation, less freedom.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Both factions of the party of one are eroding our freedoms and liberties by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, it's a perfect proof is just to see what the Republicans have done in the state of Michigan by raising taxes, with current Governor Snyder. I mean, you got a control of all the political scene in Michigan, and if they're going to sit there and say, we're conservatives, we're constitutionalists, we're going to lower your taxes, smaller government, but that's not the case here. They preach one thing and they do another. Our registrations are going up, our electric bills are going up, everything's going up, and who's in control right now?
The Republicans.
That's why we're disenfranchised.
Who has a super majority in Lansing?
Absolutely.
And they just added to it in this last election, which just flabbergasted me. I understand how they did that because of what they have done.
We've been there. We've seen the inner workings of the Republican Party, all the way up to the state conventions, and they say one thing, they do another, and there's a small group of people with a lot of money and control, and they're duping the grassroots people and people that are trying to do the right things into saying, basically, here, we're going to do this, but then they do another thing. And, we caught wind of it, and we're not going to be part of it, and that's why we moved over to the U.S. Taxpayer Party of Michigan / Constitution Party, and, they really believe in what they say, and they try to do what they say, and, hopefully we get more support and turn this around in the state.
Okay. Now you mentioned the grassroots.
Yes.
Are you referring to precinct delegates or?
Well, we're disenfranchised. I mean, a lot of people are disenfranchised, but they have no place to go. They don't understand, they think, they can go to Libertarian Party, there's the Green Party, there's Taxpayer Party, there's several other parties, but they say you can't win.
Right,
wasting
your vote.
Right, the third parties can't win. So we want to make this a situation, at least in Monroe County, that we can start winning one chair at a time, whether it's on a school board or a state representative or state senate later on, or we want to get in a position where we can get a constitutionalist voice in the state of Michigan. And we know it's going to be extremely difficult. We know there's a lot of money that's going to push against us. We've been there, we've done that, we've seen it. And but if you want to improve the future for your kids, this is what we have to do. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the people in either party, they're not going to do it. You look at right now what's going on with President Trump. He has his own people on a national level pushing against him. when he's more of a populist president than he is a Republican or a Democrat. So that should tell people something right there, just watching the show that's going on in Washington right now. And it's probably worse here in the state of Michigan.
Okay. Now, the two of you have, I'll say, been outspoken against crony capitalism. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's something that occurs in both parties?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you want to tell our viewers what crony capitalism is?
Randy?
No, first, it's not free market principle. That's the major thing in a nutshell. Okay, a perfect example is the unelected authority that the Republicans have initiated and have allowed to continue, and it's called the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, where they give taxpayer dollars to rich businessmen under the guise of job creation that studies have shown, multiple studies have shown, never materialize. You know, that's a perfect example of crony capitalism. If a business can't make it on its own, why should the taxpayers, you know, it's like these public-private partnerships referred to as P3s. And former President Obama was big on this, you know. They pushed them, and Governor Snyder, he definitely is all in on these. And the definition of a P3, public-private partnership, if it makes money, it's private. If it loses money, it's public. You, the taxpayer. And, I mean, but there's so much more in crony capitalism that goes along, like the new Senate building in Lansing. A majority of the new senators said they didn't need a new Senate building. But if you look at a heavy Republican donor developer that Governor Snyder appointed not to one, but two different unelected entities, the Transportation Department and the Michigan Strategic Fund, which is an arm or a tentacle of the Michigan Economic Development Authority, is one of many under that entity. But these are unelected authorities. They're appointed. They're made by the elected representatives that are in power. Governor John Engler, former Governor John Engler, he started the MEDC. And a little known fact that he made the first chairman of this new Michigan Economic Development Authority was a political unknown. His name was Rick Snyder. He's currently the governor of Michigan. Not too many people know that out there.
I did not know that.
Okay. So, and that was back in '99, I believe. I should have brought notes. But you cannot do this. I mean, this is crony capitalism at its worst.
I think a perfect example is the Pure Michigan campaign that's going on right now.
Oh, absolutely.
That's, you know, taking taxpayers' money to promote private businesses.
Right, and that's what it essentially does.
And it's a losing, you know, situation for the taxpayers. I mean,
Well,
why are we taking the taxpayer money, giving it to advertise for private business to bring people in?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make much sense, right? I don't want my money going there.
And the thing about
Let's get back to the Senate building. Can you tell our viewers what exactly transpired there?
Okay. Governor Rick Snyder appointed this heavy Republican donor to the Transportation Department and the Michigan Strategic Fund. The Michigan Strategic Fund, an arm of the failed MEDC, they are the ones that are going to be floating the bonds that guarantee this failed new Senate building, in my view. And that's the taxpayers of Michigan who are going to be on the hook if something goes south.
Now, wasn't there concern that they overpaid for it too?
The Lansing's own assessor said they drastically overpaid for this, according to real estate value at the time within Lansing for any commercial or business building.
So a big Republican donor was the seller of this building.
He's the beneficiary.
So he sold it, and some say 3 times the value?
You know, again, I should have brought notes because I know the statement made by the Lansing assessor was they drastically overpaid it. And the numbers that were thrown out, first it was 20 million, then it was 40 million, then it was 60, then it was 70. Who knows? Because the bean counters are going to spin it.
Yes.
Okay.
They're very good at it.
Yeah.
They're very good at it.
Okay. Now, going back to this Pure Michigan advertising, I mean, some people say, well, it stimulates the economy. It brings business into Michigan. What's your
Who
response to that?
benefits? The hotel operators, anybody in the tourism. The tourism industry here in Michigan did their own study to see if it would be in their best interest to fund the Pure Michigan campaign, and found that the return on investment just wasn't there to fund it. Well, wait a minute. If it wasn't in their best interest, why is it in me, Mr. Taxpayer, and Mr. Paul Taxpayer, and Mr. Jeff? Why is it in their best interest? They're the ones who benefit.
They're picking,
Not us.
They pick winners and losers,
They pick
and every
winners
time
and
it's a
losers in the
loser,
business
guess who
community.
pays for it? The taxpayers do.
Right.
You know, and people have to catch on to what's going on, because this thing is, you know, it's getting really bad. You know, the Republicans are jamming us. You know, they're jamming us worse than Democrats did, I think.
Okay.
This current
Now,
administration.
now, to be fair, the Democrats, they had theirs with the film subsidies.
Oh, absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I mean, there's both sides. They have picking winners and losers.
And remember,
You know, it's whose friend am I
Right,
paying? That's what the bottom
right.
line
Who's making
is.
the money behind
That's
the
right.
scenes?
Absolutely.
Who's getting the palms greased?
That's right.
But remember, they wanted to cut them film subsidies before they did, and it was the former Senate Majority Leader of the Republican Party who pushed to keep them going.
That'd be Randy Richardville,
That would be correct. And if you look at the connections there,
whose daughter works.
his daughter, the son-in-law,
Was
the father-in-law of the daughter, all worked for DreamWorks, I think it was.
I think it was DreamWorks.
DreamWorks Studios in California.
So there's a little bit of a
So who's
financial
benefit?
connection there.
Is it the taxpayer in Michigan? I don't think so.
Right.
You know.
Wow.
And that was like when they wanted to cut it. I think it was Governor Snyder said, "Well, we're not going to cut them out completely. We're going to limit it to 25 million." Well, then the former Senate Majority Leader said, "Oh, no. So he wanted it to be 100 million, knowing he was going to get his 50. That's the way it works. You shoot for the start. It's just like the utility monopolies with DTE and consumers. When they go before the Michigan Public Regulation Commission or whatever it is, who allows them or who approves their rate increases for us, they say, "Oh, we need a $10 or $15," knowing they're not going to get it, but they're going to get their 8 or their 6 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's the way the game's played. But the people, they're oblivious to what's really going on, and a lot of them just choose to be that way.
Well, you can't blame the people, because the people, in a lot of cases, because they're so busy trying to work and maintain for their families. You know,
Right,
they're expecting
right.
honesty from these people,
Right.
and they're not getting it.
Right.
I guarantee you they're not getting
Right.
it. And that's the sad part about it, because our government is supposed to be looking out for the people, and today they're not. They're looking out for themselves and their friends.
And lobbyists and special interests
Absolutely.
rule the day.
That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah. Now, didn't the film subsidies get rolled into the MEDC, so they're still around a little bit?
Right. The Michigan Film Office, which is currently, the head of that office is currently the wife of the current Speaker of the House, Tom Lemon. Her name is Janelle Leonard. What they did when they ended the film subsidies, they didn't close the film office. They rolled it into the MEDC, Michigan Economic Development Authority, the unelected authority, into one of their arms or tentacles, you know, along with the Michigan Strategic Fund. You've seen how much trouble we got in with the MEGA. You've heard of that, the Michigan Growth Authority Fund or whatever, associate, whatever it is. We're still paying out from what promises that were made in the past to companies on the crony capitalism side with the picking winners and losers in the business community.
That's right. That's right.
And how many have we seen that have got the taxpayer loot, that have either went belly up? I mean, there were some companies on the west side.
Left the state.
They left the state, they went out of
holding-
business.
Yep.
Our money's down the drain.
Yep. Taxpayers are left holding the bill.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather take that money and help people, you know, than waste it on,
Right.
you know, trying to help their political allies.
Right.
You know, it's very
Or those
sad.
who donate to their campaign
Absolutely,
coffers.
that's right.
And if you study legislation, voting records, campaign finance records, and if you really look at it and look at the correlation and how they vote and look back to their campaign finance, it's clear as a bell.
And
But
by
most
the way,
people-
that information is available online.
Oh, it's all free. It's
Any
accessible.
politician, you can see who's
Secretary
donated
of
to them.
State, the Michigan Campaign Finance
That's
Network,
right.
MichiganVotes.org.
That's right.
I mean, OpenSecrets.org, FollowTheMoney.org. It's all there at the state and federal level. You know, so there's no reason for the people to be, what's the word? You know, I don't want to say, it's almost like they don't care, but I think a lot of it is maybe they feel,
They have no hope, I think, and it's been crammed down their throats so
Right,
many times. A lot
right.
of people just they don't know what to do.
This is
anymore.
I guess that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, but that's not the way it should be. So you have to do your due diligence. It's like when you vote. You just don't vote for a letter designation in parentheses. You research the candidates. You take it upon yourself to do your due diligence as a voter. Okay? You just don't vote for someone by pulling a lever because, it's those evil Democrats or, it's those evil Republicans.
Well, sometimes it's just the name.
The name.
I recognize the name.
Hey, Jeff, who do we vote for last election? Johnson? Okay, Johnson.
Right.
What is that?
And many times, what I've seen over my years is the best candidate is the one that they try to push aside.
Right.
I mean, even in a primary, Republican primary or Democrat primary, the one that's actually going to go out there and he's not part of or she's not part of the establishment, that's the one that they're pushing to the side, they're calling bad names, attacking them. And 9 out of 10 times, that's the best person that should be sitting at office.
Right.
But the establishment does not want them there.
Because they're not yes men.
That's right.
They don't go along with the establishment view or the agenda.
That's right.
They can't count on them because
right.
they're for them stinking taxpayers
And
or them people.
It goes right back to the capital cronyism.
Capital
right?
cronyism. It's all
Same
tied
thing.
together.
That's right.
It's all tied
We
together.
get my guy in here, he votes my way, my buddy makes money.
Right.
And then by the way, that comes back around in
through campaign
con-
donations.
Contributions, yes.
And they're making it, now they're trying to figure out a way, and they've done it, like PACs are the very hardest thing that I've found to be able to research to find out where's that money really coming from. Because they've passed laws that makes it almost impossible for you to find out. Yeah. They create these PACs, and that's why if you look back to, you remember Governor Snyder's Nerd Fund? When they wanted the information, the press and everybody was pushing for the information. Well, rather than give up the information, they abolished that, and he started a different one.
Right.
And I don't know the numbers, 503C, 504B, all these different
Places to hide your money.
places to hide your money.
Okay. Speaking of money that's not really traceable, is it true that it's very difficult to find out where the money that's in the MEDC actually goes?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. A lot of times in the paper, in the business section, I'll see a little write-up. They used to mention they're getting a grant or a subsidy or a loan. They spin the terms from, the MEDC or the Michigan Strategic Fund as approved. I noticed lately that a lot of them are leaving that out, but they're mentioning the company name. So I'll go to the MEDC website, and they have a search option. So I'll punch in the name of the business. Sorry, no search results found. I'll say, So then I start searching other avenues, whether it's Crane's Business or even sometimes out of state. I found something in a Hollywood Reporter once that I couldn't find from either the Michigan's Press or any publication there, where a certain company got subsidies. Oh, wait a minute. But the MEDC website said there was, no search result. How did I not word that correctly? You know what I'm saying? So, yes, there's no transparency.
You can touch on the insurance deal, the catastrophic insurance that we're paying too. I mean, they have billions of dollars in this fund that the insurance companies say is theirs, that the taxpayers or the insurers are paying into, yet we're paying the highest rates
In the
country for car insurance.
Right.
And they have billions of dollars set aside for catastrophic insurance.
But it's none of our business.
And no one can even check in to see how much it is. So the insured can get a possible refund of this money.
Right.
That's sitting there for the benefit of who? It's not for us. It's for the insurance companies, right? And it's well known in Lansing that this is going on.
Right.
But have you seen any Republican or Democrat try to stick their neck out against insurance agencies and say, hey, what's going on with this money that's sitting there?
Follow the money.
I heard a little bit of it a couple of years ago, but then they sweep it under the rug and say, hey, we don't want to go there.
Well,
and that's what happens.
And Michigan is one of the few states that you can't FOIA the governor or the senators or, for information. It's none of your business. You voted for us to take care of your business. That's what we're doing. Just sit back and relax. We got it covered. Yeah, they got it covered, all right.
So what I'm hearing you say is that the politicians are protecting the insurance
Oh,
companies.
Oh,
absolutely.
geez.
There's no doubt about it.
And the insurance
question.
companies obviously are taking care of the politicians.
Absolutely. And that's not only in insurance companies.
Right.
It's throughout the spectrum of, quote, today's industries, from healthcare to education to
Right.
insurance to you name it.
Right.
They've all been turned into industries that are being played out through the political process to benefit whom? It's not to benefit the taxpayers or the individuals.
Right.
It's to benefit the politicians and the corporations.
Right.
And I have nothing against corporations, and they're playing the game just like anybody else, but I blame the politicians for putting the people in this situation.
Right.
It's dishonest
Right.
and borderline criminal.
Right.
If you and I were to do things that they've done,
We'd be in jail.
absolutely, for fraud.
So it's not just crony capitalism, add corruption in with that, because I don't know how that would fly in a court of law, because to me, the judges are even corrupted. I mean, we've seen that play out too. But it borderlines corruption. Maybe it's not direct corruption, but it borderlines it. You know what I mean? This crony capitalism. And
Well, when you make the laws,
right.
it's
And we've
not
seen
legal,
that.
right?
We've seen that.
Yeah.
A perfect example of that is there was a big protest here not long ago, and the protesters went to the sidewalk in front of Attorney General Bill Schuette's house. Well, there's already laws on the book stating that if you get on his property, you've broken the law.
It's trespass.
Well, now there was a lawmaker that introduced a law, and I forget what the name of the law was or the bill number, but it passed. But I call it Schuette's protection law, because they created yet another law. We got way too many laws on the books that are not enforced anyway right now. And they created this law that bans people from protesting in front of a politician's house, for the most part. Or like these roadside Gestapo-style checkpoints now. They're checking you for, they can just set up a roadblock and you can go through and, check you for whatever. I mean, that's something they did in Germany, wasn't it?
Well, I think the smarter the people are starting to get and catch on, the worse things are going to get, because they'll start, people are protesting against
They're gonna
this
fight
person. Yeah, so the politicians are going to pass laws to prevent the people from voicing their opinions. You can see it happening.
Right.
It's happened in the past. It's going to continue to happen. And I think if things start getting worse from a financial standpoint and people start getting upset, you're going to see more people protesting and upset and getting fed up, and with capital cronyism and things like that, and
And then what comes with that is the over-the-top people.
Right.
That's when you start getting these shootings and all these different things that we know is not the answer. But you're going to get them kind of people. They're going to come, and it's only going to get worse unless something changes.
we have to change the system. The system's
Right.
broke.
The system's broke.
Yeah, the politicians stopped taking care of the people and they started worrying about themselves. And they've popped up industry after industry after industry after industry, and they just feed off of it now.
Well, if
That's
you look
exactly
at-
what's going on.
If you look at the crony capitalism, and you can tie this into it, look at all the recent politicians that were termed out that just recently got appointed to different entities within the state government, and a lot of them don't even have a background to them entities. And this is because they curried favor,
Political payback.
payment made for services rendered. That's crony capitalism, and it's tied in. It's all tied in.
So these politicians who are term limited, they end up getting,
The government, juicy government job and big money. It's like,
Well, one of Senator Richardville, former Senator Richardville, he's in a consulting company
Right.
now, right?
right. As a matter of fact, when they just passed the legislation to pass our gas tax increase and vehicle registration increase that we voted 80-20 no,
Against.
he was up there in Lansing consulting with them on writing that legislation.
Then that goes right back. Who are these politicians looking out for? People 80-20 said, no, we don't want our insurance raised. What'd they do?
Right.
We don't want our gas tax raised. What'd they do? Went out and raised them. Working people can't afford that right now. I mean, it's very tough.
The majority of the citizens are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're barely making ends meet.
Yep. And these politicians, they want to spend like drunken sailors, on social programs, whatever, without any accountability to what's going on.
Right.
If there's an issue, we'll just throw money at it instead of going and looking at the issue and finding the problem and
yep.
trying to resolve it.
Right.
They just keep throwing money at it, and then everybody's happy.
Right.
That's exactly what's going on.
And if you stop and think about it, who is going to vote out the hand that's feeding them.
Yeah, that's the tough part. That's when the people have to stand up and say, hey, enough's enough,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there should be some kind of law that states if you're termed out, you either go back like our founders did. You go back to your private business, your farm fields, whatever it was you were doing. Popcorn maker. I don't care. They should not be allowed to just move somewhere else in the government. They just once they get their snout in that public trough, that public feeding trough, they can't live without it. They can't get that snout out of there.
And I got to say one thing. A lot of people don't like President Trump, but I think one thing he's really did that I was really impressed with was he put the 5-year moratorium, and you're not going to be a lobbyist if you leave,
Yeah.
and that's a great thing. And you see some of these people dropped out, their names dropped out of the hat, for assignments in his administration, and I think that they should do this in the state of Michigan. They should pass a law that says that.
Right.
You think they will?
I think you're right. I think that would be a
Absolutely.
terrific law to be passed.
That's right. Yes, I agree.
But it's very sad, especially when you have relatives, benefiting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I did an article on that in one of my reports, but if you just look at the past, okay, you had Senator Randy Richterville. His uncle was Senator Roger Kahn. His Roger Kahn's wife and Richterville's mother were sisters. You got Tom Leonard and Janelle Leonard, both working in the government. You got the Stamus brothers, Jim and Tony. The list goes on. All these relatives. You got Brian Kelly and now his wife, Julie Kelly, one of the no voters, by the way.
Stosak brothers, I think they are, that own all the stuff there.
Who?
The Stosaks?
Showstacks.
Showstacks.
But I think there was only the one. I don't think his brother was.
Yeah, but they had a bunch of stuff
Oh, they
going
had
on with
the entity
right,
that the laws were being passed that benefited.
right, to
Yeah.
benefit their businesses.
Their business,
and
right.
yeah, I mean, it's-
They had some real estate.
Absolutely.
Well, they also own a lot of Burger Kings and
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah. Many
Applebee's.
restaurants, yes.
That's right.
They got a Showstack family restaurant. And if you look at some of the legislation that was passed, it definitely benefited.
Yeah, right.
So it's a broken system, really bad. But the people are so concentrated. They're just so. It's like they got blinders on. It's television.
I can't say the system's broken because I think we live under the best form of government in the world. The problem is I think the people let their guard down.
Yeah.
And that's what the problem is. We've allowed it to get like this. Now, the politicians did take advantage of the situation. They're burning us every chance they can. That's why we're here talking about this. And it goes right back to the people have to get back involved, understand the situation, educate themselves through programs like this, and take action.
You're not
That's
going to
the
hold their
bottom
feet to
line.
the fire. You're not going to hold them accountable if you say, well, I got to vote for the R because of that evil D. Or vice versa. Go to the other side. I'm not going to play just one side. Even the D has to do this. Oh, I can't vote for that.
Okay, I hate to cut you off there, Randy, but we do have to wrap it up. So I want to thank each of you
Sure.
so much
Thank you.
for taking time to appear
Yeah,
on the
thanks
show.
for having us, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
At least we got to rant a little bit.